A coworker of mine lost his finger at work today. He makes $11 per hour. I just don't really have anyone to talk to about this, so I thought I'd write a post here. I work for a furniture company in the rural South, U.S. And earlier today a worker got his glove caught in a roller for rolling steel and it sucked his hand in and crushed a finger which couldn't be saved. And I've just been thinking about how sad it is that this guy in his 40s is working a dangerous dead-end job in unsafe conditions and got a finger crushed off all for $11 per hour. It's just really depressing. UGHH, that's really rough. My brother is a heavy machine operator and his 23-year-old coworker got their arm ripped off in the screener. My tough-as-nails brother was visibly shaken for a couple of weeks. He shared the same sentiments as you. Hopefully that guy can get workers' comp and can be properly compensated for his loss. I bet he will be okay. And I bet you will be too. Thinkin' of ya. Folded hands. A guy where my husband used to work got his arm crushed off. He and his dad were both loyal company men, so the place unfortunately did not get sued for everything they had. They did pay for the guy's fancy robotic arm. And the safety mechanisms were back in place before OSHA showed up. Of course. Condolences to him and the millions of others placing themselves in harm's way daily to barely feed themselves and their families. Had a guy at my work do that once and his lawyer said each finger is worth about $50K if you lose them at work. And to think we used to have unions that protected us, and got us good pay and benefits. God, how awful. Any chance you could change your line of work? My uncle always said if your job could kill you, you better be getting paid. He was a utility pole repairman, a high-powered lineman. Made well over $100K in the 90s. He saw at least one guy killed. My grandpa and all his brothers were railroad men. 2 retired early, they were engineers, only one had all his fingers. The third worked till he died, he was the clerk. I have a desk job, I only hate it 1/2 the time. I'm an insurance person and this reminded me that your coworker wouldn't even get a payout if he has accidental death and dismemberment coverage. Those only pay out when the dismemberment is above the wrist. Work comp settlement. Happened to my brother once. He was cleaning a machine and the moron he was training decided to turn it on. So goodbye partial middle finger. This was about 15 years ago. Now when he throws the bird, it's missing part of the top joint. I don't remember what he got from it. But remember, the capitalists take on all the risk, so that's why your buddy gets $11 an hour while getting maimed. So like, is this a risk for you? Because please find a new job. That's horrible, I'm sorry. Oh man. 3 of my fingers were cut off at work last August. Reattached but have very little movement. 35M. I'm in Canada but still dealing with all the red tape and formalities that go with assessments and payouts, etc. It's a real grind. I hope your coworker gets some counseling, it's a traumatic experience. And yourself if needed. I put a down payment on a house losing the tip of my finger. Wouldn't recommend my financial plan, but sometimes when things were tight I would look at my fingers and go nah. A really awesome guy the first worked with back when I was a teenager was a maintenance technician at an industrial bakery. He got his hand caught in the bread slicer. They were able to save his thumb, but it no longer worked like it used to. He was always awesome to me and it broke my heart. I quit shortly after. Another guy the first worked with fell off a ladder and never was the same after that. It really messed up his back. I do not care if you are making $100 per hour or even $1,000. No job is worth losing body parts for. A few years ago I had a coworker die on the job. He was dismantling some bleachers with his team and stepped back into thin air, landing on his upper back and head. He thankfully never regained consciousness. He made $38 per hour. He was worth so much more. Would it have made a difference if he was making $40 an hour? Steel plant? This happened to me, except I was making $9 an hour. I went through a temp agency for a lumber mill. My department made stair treads. After being there for a week I was asked to use a chop saw. No prior experience, which eventually resulted in 1/3 road of my finger being crushed off my piece of wood. I was 18 at the time, and only received $14K from the settlement. The sad part on top of it all is that the company will strongarm him and try to screw him out if any work comp settlement. They will dangle a minuscule amount of money to someone in a bad financial position and never make any changes to make it go away.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.